You built this town. Your quarters through the slots. Your dollars on the felt. Your loyalty for decades. But somewhere between then and now, Vegas stopped rewarding you and started squeezing you. Get this. The numbers just dropped, and they're devastating. You're spending 53% more per trip than you did 5 years ago, but you're gambling less, way less. The city that promised you everything has been slowly taking you for everything. A bombshell report just revealed exactly how Vegas is betraying the people who made it great. Let me show you what's really happening. First up, April 2025. Las Vegas tourism officials sat in a room and heard something remarkable. Jeremy Aguero from Applied Analysis delivered news that should make every Vegas regular's blood boil. The average visitor spent $1,322 per trip to Las Vegas in 2024. That's a 5% increase from 2023. But here's the kicker. That figure is 53% higher than what visitors spent in 2019, just before everything changed. You might think, well, inflation, right? But wait, here's where it gets ugly. Aguero explained exactly where that money went. Higher room rates, resort fees, parking charges, retail shopping, food and beverage costs. Meanwhile, and this is critical, spending on gaming, sightseeing, and sports actually decreased. You're spending 53% more per trip than 5 years ago. But you're gambling less. The house isn't just winning at the tables anymore. They're winning before you ever sit down. Moving on to what casino executives are saying. Steve Hill, CEO of the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority, told reporters in August 2025, the drop in visitation is at the lower end of the financial spectrum. Translation: the whales are still coming. But regular folks like you and me, we're being priced out. Hill acknowledged concerns in the middle third of the market. That's us, the loyalists who kept this town alive for decades. But it gets worse. Tom Reeg, CEO of Caesars Entertainment, said the quiet part out loud during a 2023 analyst call. You're bringing in higher value customers and you're already full, so you're kicking out the lowest end. I see no reason that needs to stop. Let that sink in. The CEO of one of the world's largest casino companies openly admitted they're intentionally driving away customers. Not because there's no demand, because those customers aren't profitable enough. Now check this out. While you're being squeezed for every penny, fewer people are even showing up. June 2025 saw 3.1 million visitors. That's a stunning 11.3% drop from June 2024. Nearly 400,000 people who decided Vegas wasn't worth it anymore. For the first half of 2025, visitation dropped 7.3% compared to 2024. Over 1.1 million fewer visitors walking the Strip. Harry Reid International Airport reported passenger counts down 6.3% in June alone. The message is clear. People are voting with their wallets, and they're voting no. Hotel occupancy tells the same story. In May 2025, Strip occupancy dropped to 85.3% from 88.5% the previous year. Weekend occupancy fell from 93.4% to 89.9%. Even with convention attendance up 11%, the leisure traveler is disappearing. The Nevada Gaming Control Board reported Strip gaming revenue fell 3.9% in May 2025. 4 consecutive months of decline. June was even worse, with downtown Las Vegas seeing an 11.3% revenue drop. Here's what's really interesting. How exactly are they doing this? By systematically destroying everything that made Vegas worth visiting. Let's start with the hidden taxes most visitors don't even realize they're paying. Remember when your room rate was just your room rate? Those days are dead. MGM Resorts raised resort fees twice in 2024. Premium Strip properties now charge $45 to $52 per night in resort fees. That's on top of your room rate, before the 13.38% room tax. In September 2024, MGM began quietly adding a $15 per night contact center fee for phone bookings. Add another $6 in taxes. You're paying $21 extra just for calling instead of booking online. Caesars, MGM, Wynn, they all do it. The only way to escape resort fees? Reach elite tier status that maybe 5% of players ever achieve, or stay at one of the few remaining no-fee properties off Strip. These aren't amenities anymore. Free Wi-Fi should be standard in 2025. Pool access? You're paying to stay at the resort, but they charge you anyway because they legally can. But wait, if you played blackjack on the Strip in 2015, you could find $5 and $10 tables with decent 3-2 payouts during slow hours. Today, according to Vegas Advantage's 2025 survey, the minimum for a 3-2 blackjack game is typically $25 to $50. Even during off-peak hours, during busy times, it jumps to $100. Want to play $5 blackjack on the Strip today? Good luck. Maybe Casino Royale or Circus Circus will have a table, but it'll likely pay $6 to $5 on blackjack instead of the traditional 3-2. That single rule change increases the house edge by 1.39%. You're losing money 4 times faster than you should be. The double-deck game at Bellagio, Aria, or MGM Grand, $100 minimum. Fontainebleau, $500. These used to be games where a $25 player could sit comfortably. Now they're reserved for high rollers. Even craps. The social game, the people's game, starts at $15 to $25 on the Strip. Roulette? Same story. The message is clear. If you're not betting big, they don't want you. Get this. The Nevada Gaming Control Board's 2024 data revealed something disturbing. Slot machine hold percentages increased to 7.2% statewide, up from 7.16% in 2023. That might seem tiny, but when $146 billion flows through these machines annually, it adds up fast. The Las Vegas Strip held 8.23% from slots in 2024, worse than the state average. Downtown Las Vegas, a shocking 8.47%. Penny slots, which are the most popular machines, held almost 10% of all money wagered. Some downtown properties held 11% from penny slots. Contrast this with the loosest slots in Nevada. Reno, where no denomination held more than 6.16%. Vegas isn't even trying to compete anymore. Why would they? They've got you captive on the Strip, walking between properties that all have the same tight machines. Here's the thing. A 2015 industry report from Applied Analysis warned that tightening slot holds actually hurts revenue. Players lose faster and leave sooner. But casino operators didn't listen. They got greedy. Now they're paying the price with empty floors. Moving on to the comp programs that once made players feel valued. MGM Rewards rolled out changes in 2024 and 2025, added some partnerships and perks. But let's talk about what Caesars did. During the pandemic, Caesars closed its Diamond Lounges, later rebranded as Laurel Lounges across Vegas properties. These were spaces where mid to high tier players could relax, grab free drinks and snacks, feel appreciated. As of late 2025, most haven't reopened. The Paris location? It's now Vanderpump A Paris, a Lisa Vanderpump bar where you pay. The company took away a benefit you earned and replaced it with another way to extract money from you. Yes, MGM added resort fee waivers for gold tier members and above, but reaching gold requires 75,000 tier credits in a calendar year, roughly $37,500 in slot play. Most recreational players will never see that level. For the guy who used to get a free buffet after 4 hours of quarter slots, those days are gone. Now you might get a $10 free play coupon if you're lucky. Now here's where things get really strange. Casino revenues keep climbing even as fewer people visit. In August 2025, Nevada casinos won $1.36 billion from gamblers, up 4% from the previous year. The Las Vegas Strip saw a 5.6% gain. How is this possible within 11 % drop in visitors? Two reasons. First, they're targeting whales. Steve Hill admitted it in July 2025. We are not seeing any problem at the top of the market. The drop in visitation is at the lower end of the financial spectrum. Casino consultant Oliver Lovevet was even more blunt. Many resorts today are looking at key metrics such as being willing to operate with lower occupancy with the right people in the building. The right people. That means not you, not the loyal decades-long player who brought friends, celebrated anniversaries, came back year after year. They want high net worth individuals who'll drop $50,000 in a weekend and never complain about a $500 steak. Second, they're squeezing more from fewer people. Higher table minimums, tighter slots, mandatory resort fees, surge pricing on food and drinks, $20 bottles of water poolside, $8 beers at the casino bar. Every single interaction is designed to extract maximum revenue from whoever's left. But wait, even casino executives know they've pushed too far. Caesars Entertainment CEO Tom Reeg acknowledged in an earnings call that Las Vegas started leaking as a market in June 2025. Expected the third quarter to remain soft. Casino consultant Oliver Lovett told NPR in August 2025, if you're looking for a bargain because of the way that Las Vegas has changed, it's no longer a bargain destination. Even Jonathan Jossel, CEO of Plaza Hotel Casino downtown, acknowledged the problem. Las Vegas maybe's forgotten some of the messaging, which is to say it's not just an event town, and people can still come here and have a great time at a great price. But the evidence says otherwise. When occupancy, visitation, and leisure spending all drop simultaneously, while complaints flood social media, the verdict is in. Vegas priced out the people who built it. Here's what's really interesting. The players aren't staying silent. In April 2025, a comment on Twitter went viral with over 15,000 likes. The user wrote, "The value proposition of Vegas has completely collapsed. Overpriced. Everything is worn down. Not fun. Younger people don't gamble. Not much else to do. There was a time when you could get great value and have a great time. Now, you're just feeling ripped off." That comment appeared in an official report to the LVCVA. Think about that. The Tourism Authority had to acknowledge that their own customers are publicly declaring Vegas no longer provides value. Reddit forums are filled with similar sentiment. One user wrote, "I still go, but only twice a year instead of the 4 or 5 trips I would take annually. I try to limit my food costs. Bring protein bars for breakfast. Eat at sandwich places for lunch and dinner. Got tired of paying $30 plus tip for cold eggs, bacon, and coffee." Another Reddit user claiming to work for a major strip operator wrote, "Mice work for one of those greedy corporations and they are ruining our city. VPs and executives get bonuses for cutting costs and staying under budget while raising prices to astronomical levels." Get this, the human cost of this strategy is devastating. Holly Lang, a 47-year-old cocktail waitress at MGM Grand, says, "I'm seeing a lot less tips than I normally would. We've definitely got a lot less foot traffic and a lot less people gambling." Another Las Vegas server reported tip revenue decreased by half compared to last summer. Half. One TikTok user who works as a waitress on the Strip said, "Last year around this time, I made $300 to $500 in tips. Today, I just walked home with $124. These are real people with real bills. They didn't create this strategy. They're just trying to survive it. But their income is plummeting because casinos deliberately drove away the customers who would have filled their sections." Now check this out. Do you remember when the Stardust had a $3.99 steak special? When you could play dollar blackjack at the Frontier? When casino managers knew your name and slipped you a comp buffet just for showing up regularly. Remember when what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas meant spontaneous adventures? Not calculating whether you can afford a bottle of water. When you could marry your sweetheart at 2 a.m. for $50 at a tacky chapel and laugh about it over free drinks while playing nickel slots. The Vegas we loved gave you a shot. A real shot. The slots were loose enough that you might actually walk away a winner. The table minimums were low enough that you could play all night on a modest bankroll. The buffets were legendary and affordable. The shows were spectacular, and you didn't need to mortgage your house to see them. That Vegas understood something fundamental. If you treat people well, they'll keep coming back. They'll bring their friends. They'll spend money because they're having fun, not because they're being nickel and dimed at every turn. So how did we get here? How did Vegas transform from that to this? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Vegas stopped being run by casino men and started being run by Wall Street analysts. MGM Resorts, Caesars Entertainment, Wynn Resorts. They're publicly traded companies answerable to shareholders who demand quarterly growth. Every earnings call, executives have to explain how they'll increase revenue and margins. Every quarter they need to show progress. So what do? They optimize. They squeeze. They raise resort fees by $3, then $5, then $8. They bump table minimums from 10 to 15, then 25, then 50. They tighten slot percentages by 0.04%, small enough that most players won't notice, big enough to add millions to the bottom line. They fire dealers and replace them with automated tables. They close comp lounges and turn them into revenue-generating restaurants. They eliminate free parking and charge $20 to $40 per day. MGM CEO Bill Hornbuckle told investors in February 2025 that the company aimed to capture $150 million in operational opportunities. Corporate speak for, "We're going to squeeze more profit out of this operation." In the same call, MGM CFO mentioned they were down in full-time employees across our regions, Las Vegas, and our corporate office while deploying digital interfaces to handle customer service. Translation: fewer workers, lower costs, less personal service. This is what happens when accountants run casinos instead of gamblers. But wait, corporate greed isn't the only factor. External forces have accelerated the decline. Canadian visitors, who represent the largest share of international tourism to Vegas, dropped 18% in 2024. Many Canadians stopped traveling to the US in protest of policies and increased costs. WestJet, the biggest carrier, reduced Vegas flights by 15%. Economic concerns throughout 2025 drove consumer confidence down. A Deloitte survey found Americans plan to travel in 2025, but with smaller budgets. When discretionary income shrinks, Vegas is one of the first things cut. High inflation in 2023 and 2024 made everything more expensive. Not just in Vegas, everywhere. Credit card debt hit record levels. People chose to pay down debt instead of taking gambling trips. Meanwhile, competition grew. Tribal casinos expanded across the country, offering many of the same games without requiring a plane ticket. Sports betting legalized in dozens of states. You don't need to fly to Vegas to place a bet anymore. Cruise lines offered all-inclusive packages that felt like better value than Vegas's nickel and diming. Regional markets like Atlantic City offered proximity to major population centers. Vegas didn't adapt. They doubled down on high-end luxury, instead of remembering that volume matters. They chased whales and forgot about the millions of regular folks who made Vegas what it was. Here's what it all comes down to. Nobody wants to spend money in Las Vegas anymore because Vegas stopped giving value for that money. It's that simple and that tragic. You're paying 53% more per trip than you did 5 years ago. Most of that money goes to fees, parking, and overpriced food. Not to gaming. The average visitor in 2024 spent $1,322 per trip, but gambling spending decreased. That's not a casino town anymore. That's a theme park with slot machines. The corporations running Vegas forgot the fundamental rule. The house always wins if you keep people playing. But if you price them out, squeeze them dry, and make them feel like suckers, they stop coming. And that's exactly what's happening. Jeremy Aguero's bombshell report should have been a wake-up call. Instead, casino operators kept raising fees, tightening slots, pushing out the loyalists. Now they're dealing with double-digit visitor declines and wondering what went wrong. What went wrong is simple. They got greedy. They betrayed the people who built this town. And now those people are staying home. Get this. Imagine an NFL stadium where only the luxury boxes have people in them. The rest of the seats sit empty. How long would those luxury box holders keep paying premium prices if they were the only ones creating atmosphere? Not long, because half the value of being in a luxury box is being part of the energy and excitement. When the stadium's empty, the experience sucks, even for rich people. That's exactly what's happening in Vegas. The whales and high rollers don't want to gamble in empty casinos. They want crowds, energy, buzz. That atmosphere comes from having lots of regular people around. The very people Vegas is kicking out. Meanwhile, local casinos targeting residents are seeing up to 50% revenue increases. Why? Because locals' casinos still understand that volume and atmosphere matter. So what happens next? Vegas faces a choice. Continue chasing whales while the ocean dries up. Or remember what made it legendary in the first place. Some signs suggest change might be coming. A few properties experimenting with no resort fee promotions. Some discussion of rule changes at the Nevada Gaming Control Board. But real change requires admitting what every economics textbook teaches. Sustainable business isn't built on eliminating your customer base. Vegas needs to restore value for middle market guests. Lower friction, clearer pricing, accessible gaming at reasonable limits. 3-2 blackjack at $25. Penny slots that don't hold 11%. Free parking for hotel guests. Reasonable food and beverage prices. They need to remember that hospitality means making guests feel welcome, not finding new ways to charge them. That volume and atmosphere matter. That the loyalists who've been coming for decades deserve better than being told they're not the right people. Here's what I want to know. What's your Vegas story? When did you first notice the value disappearing? Are you still going, or have you given up? What would it take to bring you back? Share your stories in the comments below. Let's raise awareness together. The more we talk about this, the more pressure we put on these corporations to remember who built this town. Loyal players like you and me. And one more thing. If this video gave you clarity on what's happening in Vegas, if it validated what you've been feeling for years, hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel so you don't miss future videos on Vegas and the gambling industry. We're going to keep digging, keep exposing the truth, keep advocating for the players who made this city great. Vegas doesn't have to be this way. Change is possible if enough people demand it. But first, we have to understand what's really happening. Now you know. The bombshell has dropped. You're spending 53% more, but gambling less. The CEO admitted they're kicking out the lowest end on purpose. Nearly 400,000 fewer people visited in June alone. Workers are losing half their tip income, and the corporations running Vegas are doubling down on a strategy that's destroying the city they claim to love. The question is, what are we going to do about it? Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.